What's next for Justin Wilcox and the Cal Golden Bears? This is a team that went 4-8 last year, and it's really tough to win at Cal. It's just really tough to do. And Wilcox has his hands full, but I think he did a good job of bringing in talent to turn things around via the transfer portal. And today we're going to take a look at the top 10 players, most returning, but also there's quite a few players that are coming in from the portal that are going to make an impact right away. On paper, this team doesn't actually look really that bad. This is not a 4-8 team on paper to me, but it just comes down to executing and depth and so many other things. And you're in a Pac-12 conference that is so good, but guys like JAYDN are also really explosive. You look at a guy who averaged 5.3 yards per carry last year, 8 touchdowns. He was also a force in the passing attack, 321 yards, 7 yards per catch, and three more scores. JAYDN is someone who I think I'm not going to call it a breakout season because when you have over 1,000 yards, it's not a breakout season. You've already broken out. People should know who you are. And if not, that's on them. I think we have to get rid of that breakout season when you're not as good as some of the other guys in terms of production. But JAYDN is a running back that you need to know. Honorable mention all Pac-12 on Cal. Keep that in mind. Cal is 4-8 last year. This is a program that honestly gets overlooked because of what they typically do, which is usually struggle. And when you look at what JAYDN did, keep in mind this is a team that averaged under 100 yards per carry or per game last year on the ground, 122nd in the nation. And you have a guy that had nearly 900 yards. JAYDN, if he gets even the slightest bit of help, and we'll talk about one of the guys that's going to make a huge impact in that regard, JAYDN could be a name that is going to have a monster season in 2023. Now, flip over to the defensive side of the ball. This was a group that struggled, to say the least. They didn't really do much to slow people down. They were fairly average at stopping the run, but there was a guy that did a lot of good work for this defense, and that was linebacker Jackson Sherman, the former Washington transfer, 104 tackles last year, 6 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, 4 passes defended, did a little bit of everything for this defense to get him a first team all Pac-12 selection. He is a playmaking machine, and honestly, when it comes down to it, you're going to need some help because he can't do it all on his own. And you're returning quite a bit of talent around him, especially in the front seven. And this secondary should be pretty good. I think that you're looking at a group that is going to be much better than they were. And what that means record wise, I don't really know, but I know I like what I see from Cal. They have the top tier talent to be able to make this team better. Now, whether or not that's first team all Pac-12 like SIRMON, don't really know how many players they have like that. I would say they maybe have two. But if you can even get, this is where this is kind of the depth is where this comes in because you can get guys to be honorable mention, third team, second team, whatever. That's where things come in. That's where things come to play. And that's how you get to an improved record. One of the bigger splashes they made in the portal was getting San Diego State transfer Patrick McMorris. Now, he's still not on campus quite yet, but he had a major impact on a San Diego State defense that was extremely talented. For Cal to go out and get him was one of the bigger additions that they went out and got. Now, there's quite a few that we're still going to talk about that are just as big, but Patrick McMorris joins a secondary that, like I said before, should be a lot better in 2023. Now, I will say one thing that Cal did really well was throw the football. Now, they lose Jack Plummer to Louisville via the transfer portal, but they do add a guy later that we'll talk about that's going to make life a lot easier. One of the guys that stepped up and showed his big playability was Jeremiah Hunter at wide receiver. 965 yards, 16.1 yards per catch, 5 touchdowns. Honorable mention Pac-12 last year. I think he can have a big year if he can figure out what's going on with the quarterback position, find some chemistry with that guy. This is an offense I think that has good potential. Now, they're not going to be the best. I don't want people to think that Cal's suddenly going to be one of the best offenses in college football or even in the Pac-12, but I think that this group has too much talent to not be one of the better offenses in this conference. Now, we talked about the secondary, and we'll get a little bit of a jump on this. Jeremiah EARBY, honorable mention Pac-12, 11 passes defended, 1 interception last year. A guy who has potential big playability, and I think that he's going to be really fun to watch for Cal this year. This is a defense that has really done well to get talent in. Justin Wilcox has done a good job of weathering the storm. It has not been easy for him. It is not. And it's really unfortunate that it's been such a struggle, but I think that you're looking at a team that could be better, and this secondary is going to be a big reason why. Now, another guy that you're going to want to watch is Craig Woodson, another honorable mention all Pac-12, does a little bit more for this defense than your typical safety. 75 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 3 passes defended, 2 interceptions. Now, he probably could be higher on this list, but I think the pairing of Craig Woodson and Patrick McMorris is going to be one to watch. It's an underrated pairing, a group that is, again, this secondary has the potential to be a lot better than they were last year. Again, when you're 123rd in passing yards allowed per game, they averaged nearly 280 yards against Cal. Opponents were really just shredding this defense. And if they can stay healthy and they can all be on the field at the same time, this could be a group that's going to be much better. And that's what's going to help you in the win column. Now, we talked about the quarterback before. The guy that they went out and got was TCU transfer Sam Jackson. Did not throw an incomplete pass in 2022. Now, did not throw that many passes in 2022, but he did not throw an incomplete pass. So build upon that confidence, if you will. 64 yards on the ground, 7.2 yards per carry. So he's got a little bit of wiggle in him in terms of the rushing attack, and that's going to be huge for a guy like Jay Knott. We'll see what happens in the passing attack, but this is someone who 24/7 Sports rated pretty high in the transfer portal. They thought that this was a really good addition for the Cal Golden Bears, and I think that this offense benefits tremendously from adding him to this roster. Now, we mentioned this before. Getting guys that can open things up for Jay Knott is going to be huge. And Matthew WYKOFF comes off a season in which he was an all SEC freshman team candidate selection. And you're looking at this is going to be the biggest thing for Cal's offense. Now, if Sam Jackson is good, now the fact that he can run is huge, but this is an offensive line that needs to take a step forward. And having a center like Wyckoff, who has experience and success at a high level in the SEC, coming out to the Pac-12 to be able to take over for a Cal team that is looking to take a step forward. Again, Justin Wilcox, if they continue to struggle, probably gone after this year, even though it's tough to win. But the fact that he went out and addressed the trenches and found a guy that is an elite player, it's going to help this team quite a bit. Another guy that could be huge, especially when Ott needs a break or if he's hurt or whatever, is BYRON Cardwell. The Oregon transfer didn't really get his things going with the Ducks, but I think that he's a player that can get going and do a lot of good things with Cal. Average 6.8 yards per carry with Oregon. Probably not going to have the same luxuries that he did, but again, I think this group is going to be better than they were. This is going to be a surprising team in 2023, and this is an offense that has a solid duo in the backfield. To join Sam Jackson, that could be really fun. I think that there's potential there, and obviously you just got to make things happen on the field. But BYRON Cardwell is someone who a lot of people picked to be the next great running back for Oregon, and obviously that didn't work out. But I think that he can get his career back on track with Cal. And again, we talked about the passing attack. Another one to keep an eye on is wide receiver Brian Hightower coming in from Illinois. 809 yards for his career, 13 and a half yards per carry, 6 touchdowns. A player who has the potential to take a step forward. We talk about Jeremiah Hunter. There's quite a few talented players that are going to command a lot of attention on this offense, and a guy like Hightower could see a lot of one-on-one matchups, and that could mean that he does a lot of damage for this offense as well. Now, again, I think I really like this team. Maybe not in terms of a Pac-12 contender, but this is a team that I like to take a step forward. And if they can't, that obviously would be disappointing. But you're looking at a team that has the pieces to make that happen. Justin Wilcox is doing what he can to bring in talent, to keep talent here and recruit it. And he's done a great job so far. It's just a matter of winning in a place that's really hard to win at. And Cal is going to be really fun to watch, a team that could be really explosive at certain positions. And it's just a matter of what does that record look like at the end of the year.